Hey, Carleen, how are ya?
Hi, pretty good. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you for your time today. So yeah, I'm excited that you decided to reach out and express interest in some of the things that I have going on with my web design gig. Um, and um, I'm excited to know your skills and get to know more about you. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to start by setting some expectations. So I'll tell you a little bit about me and that you may or may not know, and what I do with web design and development, and what I'm looking for, and then we'll get into just a few casual questions. Okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions before we start?
No, I don't think so. I'd like to
Okay.
pick up anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So, since you consented to recording, some of what I say, I know that you already know since we've worked together.
Hmm.
But for the benefit of our audiences, when I post this, I am gonna repeat some things maybe you already know. But
Okay.
um, I'm Eric, of course, and I run on the side in addition to like full time or part time or temporary work in the local workforce of the Southern Tier. On the side, I run a web design and development agency. I essentially target small business owners, social media marketers that are maybe interested in websites but don't have a digital footprint outside of social media quite yet.
Hmm.
And my main offering that I have the strongest skill set for is the actual design and like development and coding and like creating of the website. Um, I dabble on the side just as a personal interest that I'm getting some minor in my degree program for which I study computer science. I'm minoring in business, specifically targeting marketing courses, and 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 I'm taking some self-paced learning for to enhance my design chops. Um, so that's a little bit about me and my skill set, and what I'm looking for is people that are willing and able in terms of like skills and time availability
Hmm.
to be sort of like my liaisons or my go-to contract workers. So this would be a contract gig. It's not full time. It would be on a case by case, contract by contract basis.
Hmm.
um I'm looking for people with skills in marketing for the most part, as it relates to certain types of copywriting, um, specifically like customer storytelling, um, writing longer form content sometimes for customers who want a blog, um, looking at short, punchy sales statements sometimes. But mostly longer form types of writing opportunities where you are either helping me tell a customer's journey, or you are helping me craft what we call in the design and sales industry, the e-commerce industry, like a landing page, which is essentially like a sales flyer kind of thing.
Oh,
It's a website where you scroll from top to bottom. There's not a lot of links to go away from it, and it's kind of like your first introduction to a customer. I know you've seen them. I could
okay.
probably think if you have questions about that from a technical side of things, let me know. But it's basically like a sales flyer in digital format
Okay. I think I've seen something like
where
that.
yeah, where maybe you're like telling a little bit of the uh our customers' story in terms of who they are and why their business is important to the people that might find themselves looking at this landing page. And then like you're also putting our customers' best foot forward as far as like talking about the advantages of the skills or services or product that they offer. So it's a little bit of storytelling and a little bit of sales driven marketing type of content. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
So that's primarily what I'm looking for, but I'm also interested in collaborating with folks that have more proven design experience than me. Um, just in case I have customers that want custom looks that maybe are a little outside of my comfort level in terms of skill set.
Mhm.
So those are the 2 things I'm looking for, and I know you're primarily of a skill set that you would be interested in the writing side of things, is that right?
And that's more correct, yes. Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I always like to make sure if I'm talking to
Mhm.
someone who has multiple skills that I'm
Mhm.
looking for, it's even better for me. So,
Right.
okay.
No, no, I'm more yeah, like you said, I'm more towards the creative aspect than what you're talking about. That's
Sure,
my
sure.
experience, so yeah,
That's fine. So
yeah.
I think this is a good segue. I would love to learn about you. Like tell me why you're interested in having this conversation. Tell me what you bring to the table a little bit.
Okay. Sure. Well, a little bit about me, and I know you only know me from just our past experience, but so as you know, I my goal has always been to do something with my passion, which has always been writing. My bachelor's degree is in communications. At the time, I wanted it to be writing based, but there really isn't that skill level jobs around here, especially. And so I use that as a segue for other opportunities. My experience has always been customer service mostly, but there always has been an aspect where I've dabbled into creative blogging or just articles. As an example, you probably not aware, but I have did a lot of I don't want to say freelance, but give them opportunities to write articles and blogs related to Girl Scouts. That's always been a passion, of course. And a couple times they reached out to me to have them do a blog of when I went to a national convention in Houston. Happened to be the 100-year centennial celebration, so they wanted an aspect from a personal perspective that other people in the council could see what I take from that, what the relevance is to that. And because of that, I've had also several opportunities to do blogs on a other basis after that, kind of like a guest speaker type of thing. And
Okay.
it related to how my audience, meaning the membership and things like that, had got some experience, what my relevance to that, how that benefited from that. I've always been the go-to person for doing anything, taking notes, sending out emails for correspondence, usually for within leaders. And I've also used that too, as I said, I went to conventions a few times. I've used those skills to bring up issues that were important at that time. A lot of times people won't say, "Oh yeah, I'll talk about it." I'm the first person that'll say, Okay, here's what you need to um, we'll write up, and here's a lot of times I go back with that with being a delegate. A lot of times they want to know what were the results of that, the outcomes from that in meeting or convention, and so I would have to go back and report back to them and do it in a either blog or article type format. So a lot of
Okay.
my work related to that is more on a not professional basis, but because I don't actually make money from it. But let's
Sort of
face it,
volunteer work, right?
yeah, yeah, it's been more or less professional on a volunteer basis.
Sure.
Um, I actually did a like a I don't say like an article, like a little column about an experience that I had, and actually someone that reached out to me and asked if they could use that article in their local paper or something like that. So they actually took my experience that I had wrote now and put it on to their own. They obviously asked for my permission, of course.
Did they give you
So,
credit?
oh yeah,
Like
oh yeah,
okay, okay, good. I'm not sure. I'm less familiar with like being featured. I like to write on the side, but yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. That's really cool.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, she definitely had made sure that she gave me credit for that because she said that I did a good job with it, and it was more on a blogging type basis, and she happened to see it and looked out or read out to that. I've heard that too. My brothers keep saying that is why can't you get anything doing writing work, which I've been trying to do because like I said, I can do storytelling. To go back from what I told you about my accident, which is that's 4 years now, but that's
Hmm.
how I got my to share my experiences was on Facebook. But I mean, it is what it is. I described what it was. People understood what happened, why, how I've overcome that since then, and what I've learned from it. It was more on a personal perspectives. I don't mind sharing the story. It's lengthy, but it made them people see. what my skills for that were, not only just sharing the story because I think it's important, but um, so it's a way for people to understand where I'm coming from, what I can do. But like I said, my struggle has always just been trying to find how to put my passion into making money, but I don't mind doing that without getting paid for it.
Sure,
So
sure.
I do the normal stuff that I have to do to pay my bills, but at the same time, I do that on the side, and I've used that to benefit both
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
person and me. So yeah.
Great, great. Thank you for, giving me insight to this side of you. I didn't realize exactly how involved you were with Girl Scouts, and I think the there's a lot of overlap that I see in everything that you just told me about your story, and like my creative interest in terms of what is my passion and me wanting to, like kind of turn a dollar here and there. But
Mhm,
to give you an idea, right, I'm big on doing altruistic efforts and volunteer stuff, but
mhm,
this would be something where if I'm getting paid, you're getting paid. So even though it would be contract, there is some income opportunity for you. So I just
mhm.
want to reassure you that I do think if you have any hesitations, this is something that can help you get the ball rolling to have a portfolio of paid work.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think this would be like a main career type of thing, but definitely certainly help. But I don't mind even helping, even not getting paid. Because let's face it, I
oh,
have a job where I pretty much can. I'm flexible during the day, so I can do my normal job and still help you to help me. And
that's good to know. That's good
yeah,
to know. I
so
am so my main client that is like close to closing a sale,
hmm
it's going to be a very low dollar or almost no profit sale where I would do it at cost.
hmm
She's a creative talent that is in the boutique tie-dye clothing kind of industry,
oh, okay,
and she's looking to um increase her social media following, tell her story, and use that story to leverage getting some income for her efforts so that she can then have her costs covered to scale her business,
hmm
um but the majority of her income she intends to provide to charitable contributions, and
that's
and and once she has enough of a proven track record, she is looking at officially getting the paperwork taken care of to be a nonprofit. So I see a lot of potential in this this client, that prospect,
hmm
and I think the 3 of us have some values that overlap. So, um, I would like to give you some paid work because
okay.
it sounds like that's your next step. Um, but I may even, just to be transparent, I know
hmm
we talked a little bit off record that, I want to work with you, so this is less of an interview about do I want to work with you, but more
hmm
about understanding your skills and the depth to which I can work with you.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that you have some very translatable skills just right up front with this client prospect that I have. So
Okay.
I'm glad we're having this discussion is what I want to
Yeah.
say.
Cool.
Um, so outside of the strengths that I can already interpret from what you've told me, what would you say, knowing what I've said so far, is like the dual side of the coin, this kind of cliche question sometimes. I think it
Sure.
adds value though. Tell me tell me your biggest strength and your biggest concern, or what some may refer to as a weakness about this type of opportunity.
So my biggest strength, I would say, would definitely be the communication. Obviously, both verbal, written, whatever, and my interpersonal skills. I've been told I can get along with anybody, so that seems to be in my normal everyday work. I can translate to anything pretty much. So I think
Hmm.
those two combined, just right there, are definitely sellable points.
Okay.
My weaknesses just are simply getting the more technical skills, I think.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's something I can work on. It's another thing. And just getting overexcited about things. I do that, but that's just me. I get passionate about things. So
Sure.
that's the only thing that happens. And I get that a lot, which I understand fully. But that's really the only weaknesses I can think. Um,
That's fine,
I
that's fine, and so I wanna reassure you that when it comes to the tech aspect of what I do for my customers,
mhm,
if there's any tech details you need to know, I will be the man that walks you through it until you have the understanding you need to have. So,
okay,
um, this is not gonna be a primarily tech-heavy requirement in terms of the responsibilities that I would contract out to you. Um, there may be certain terms or like a surface level understanding that if I can help convey to you, then 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 there's more efficiency in what we do.
mhm,
Um, but when it comes to that, I am the man that will train you on it. And
yeah.
if we can't get to that understanding, I will find someone who can help create the understanding.
I
Um,
think I could learn too. I haven't had that experience. But like things like Photoshop, things like that, I've worked with that a lot too. I mean, when
sure, okay,
I worked at for a short gig at a local paper down here, the highlights, and I did work with them for their design and layout. So I mean, familiar with some of the programs. Um, Now they're kind
cool.
of outdated by now. But I did a lot of the copying and writing programs of that. And even when I worked at colleges and newspapers, I did have some, as I said, probably outdated by now, but it's a learning curve. I'm sure I could pick it up.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I think it's interesting to me to hear you talk about Photoshop skills. You may not feel comfortable having a full design responsibility, but Photoshop is probably one of my weakest points in my own self, just to be transparent. So there's definitely a couple avenues that I may reach out to you for. Because I do think that once you get a foundation with a certain piece of software, even if you don't use it for a little while, that foundation generally stays relevant. It's just in my experience personally, I can say at least with things like just like a more analytical example, but like with Microsoft Excel, I
Mhm.
learned it intimately in a past life and stepped away from it for a little while and then had to learn some of the similarities and parallels with Google Sheets.
Oh, okay.
And that's like the Google version of Excel and Microsoft Excel. And it was a quick learn for me because I was able to rely on my foundational experience even though it was a couple years old. So um
Hey, funny is you say that. Me and Excel, I'm like, what? But then other
sure,
Microsoft programs, like, no problem. Create a PowerPoint, not a problem. But Excel, me and things like that. I'm more on the creative side for sure. But they're
gotcha.
A plus B, C equals C. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, I think the math and the like the formula creating stuff from Excel can be intimidating to a lot of people, but
Mhm.
um if you're comfortable making attractive PowerPoints, then you may have some translatable skills into web design as well. So
Yeah.
don't rule that out. Like it's always a profitable creative business, I can tell you firsthand. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So in regards of like your portfolio of work,
Mhm.
how recent are some of your examples, whether they're volunteer work or not?
Oh God. Um. Well, some of the more recent ones I've done, like the blocks and stuff are many years old, so they're just been quite a few years ago.
Okay.
Some of the emails that I sent out for just general newsletters, things like that, have been recent. I mean, within the
So
last
you
few
write
years.
newsletters as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever we have a look at monthly or however many regular meetings, I am the one that sends out all the information to everyone that needs to have the information or to follow up on a meeting. Like I'm the delegate for a lot of them, so a lot of times I bring back what the people need to know. So yeah, in fact, I'm the first person that they go to set up those emails.
That's
So
great.
it's not really a maybe formal per se, but I mean it's, here's your email, here's what you need to do. But the more creative part's been several years, but
Okay,
the
okay.
more
I mean, you
uh,
still, I wanted to say as an aside, I think it's great that you have newsletter experience because in the terms of e-commerce, there are customers that are looking for email marketing.
mm,
Which, like, I'm sure you're familiar with if you've ever given your email to any retailer, they
yeah,
send you the sales letters, right?
yeah.
So some of it is just stating the facts about this is the sale, this is the price, but with certain products and certain customers, part of the sales letter or the newsletter is writing a little bit of a story about why you should buy the product, right? So
Sure.
that might be something that is very comfortable for you
Yeah,
after a couple example shots. So
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm really glad you brought that up. Um, okay, so I I don't have many more questions. Some of these are just my own curiosity. I have a couple questions left.
Sure. Okay.
It's regarding what you told me about your interest with Girl Scouts. I'm looking at what I wrote down. So you mentioned
Yeah.
two things.
Yeah.
Um, the first is so you've done like some convention summarization type work.
Yes. Yes.
Um, that's for Girl Scouts specifically. Are there other
Yes.
conventions
No.
that
No. It's been for Girl Scouts specifically. I've been to
okay,
four of them. Three of them, I was a council delegate to the convention, which you have to get your facts when you go to the convention, the business meetings. You get all the information, and then when you come back, you portray that to what the results were. Some of it's real boring. It's been real cut and dry, but some of it's actually been interesting. But
sure.
yeah, three times I've been the council national convention delegate. Big
Wow, that's
mouthful,
great.
but yeah, yep,
That's really great.
yeah,
Um, if if we need to have a second interview for any reason, I would love to hear more about what is involved in becoming the delegate. That sounds like a process in and of
hmm
itself.
yeah,
But I'm gonna move on to my next question.
sure,
You also said you used a phrase that I think is probably like relative to a program within Girl Scouts within
sure.
leaders.
hmm
Is that could you tell me a little bit about that? Do you have like leadership skills?
The what? What do you mean exactly?
So, I didn't write down the surrounding context in your statement, but
Oh, sure.
you were referring to some of your experience with conventions, and maybe I
Oh,
just
hmm
misunderstood, but you
hmm
were talking about you used the term and it sounded like the title of like maybe a Girl Scout leadership program.
hmm
And I was just kind of making the assumption that that's what it was. But you said within leaders. Am I just misunderstanding or?
That just means it's like the troop leaders within our service units, which is
Oh,
basically
because that's what they call them. Okay.
yes. Yeah. Like within
Okay.
like in Elmira, like they call it the service unit. It's basically the group of leaders within the troops for that specific area. And that has to
Okay.
be voted on as far as within the service units to be go to the council meetings, and then there's a application process to be proposed to go to the national conventions, which are every 3 years.
Okay.
The next one's next July in freaking Orlando. Should be interesting.
Oh, wow.
Even though I'm not going to be a delegate, I still plan on trying to go down there.
That's
So,
great. Yeah, that's
'cause-
great. I can tell that that's very important to you, and I think that's very honorable and a
put it this way,
promise.
it'll be 20 years this fall. I counted them.
Wow,
Yeah,
congratulations.
yeah, yeah.
That's huge. That's really huge.
Slightly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry for the terminology confusion. I mean, with this
No,
beard, they wouldn't let me in the local troop, you know what I mean? So,
sure. You'll be fine.
um, yeah, I think I have what I need to know for where I'm at with my sales pipeline, and
Okay.
like I said, I'm interested in continuing conversations that are client specific. So if we set something else up, it may be related. You know, if you want to move forward, because ultimately the choice is yours. I've made my mind up, and I'll just tell you to alleviate any pressure. I would
Mhm.
like to move forward with relying on you as one of my main storytellers for
Okay.
customers so if you're interested in that I would love to talk more at some point in the near future about that tie-dye creative that I was telling you
Okay. Absolutely.
about but I don't have any further questions. Do you have questions for me?
No, so you're just working on the finer details with that perspective?
Yeah, yeah. It's an intimate relationship that I have with someone and they're interested in working with me to see what I can offer in terms of the full scope of my services. So I know that your skills are directly relevant. Um, we're just working on like our financial strategy and like
Yeah.
that side of things. So there is a certain perspective in terms of uh, if they want to be fully nonprofit as much as possible from the front, we could still work out a situation where their budget includes a line item for subcontracting costs.
Okay.
Um, but I'm not yet at a budget discussion with them to know what
Yeah.
that is. So I don't want to make a financial offer to you
Yeah.
that is not my authority to make. But
Well, yeah. It sounds like this is gonna be able to like make your main gig until you, because you gotta have, let's face it, you gotta have money to pay your bills. So it's gonna be,
right,
you're not gonna be able to rely on that as your sole income unless you can really get going. But I know how the
right.
field is out there, so you'll probably have a side gig in addition to that. So
Sure. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be doing some marketing material on my own that maybe, if you're willing, I would love to hear your consultative advice about,
sure.
as well, because that marketing material is my main goal is to drive the revenue so that I can do these types of passion charitable type of things as well. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I'll have a debrief with you and send you like a follow-up email with some of the things we discussed, and if you're interested, you can take as much time as you need to think about it. Just shoot me a response when you have one in mind, and we'll take it from there. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
Thanks so much. You have a good
Sure.
day.
Me too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.